Voiceover by Gary Alpert. The dimensions of the court and physical laws dictate stroke production. No coach's opinion or any unique theory. Okay, Joe, here we go. An assessment on your tennis game. Excellent the way you turn and set the racket up. You got an Eastern forehand grip. Now, what I would be doing is writing down on a piece of paper the specific detail that I give you to improve your tennis game. And you can certainly pull me aside at any time and ask me more questions about your tennis, and I'd be glad to help you out. The racket does not need to be above your head. It should be nose level. You drop into what's known as a three-point landing. Your left foot steps out on your forehand. Your hips should be dropping and your racket should be dropping. Those are the 3 points. Now I'm watching your right hand very closely. It's at about the height of your belly button, and it's not going to get any lower. You need to get a lot lower when you hit a forehand. That hand should drop, in a perfect world, all the way down to your right knee, and then begin the lift. Now when I look at this photo right here, there's no question that I can tell you've hit a lot of tennis balls. It's great the way you're not crowding the ball, the way the ball is way out to the right of you. Your hips are on a 45 degree, the way it should be, eyes fixed to the hit, left arm out in front of you. Right heel off the court, left foot on a 45 degree. So your body knows how to go into the proper position when you strike the forehand, although the path of your swing is not lifting nearly enough. Now look how the racket head is turning over. You do not, it's a gamble to turn the racket head over, because your timing of when you strike the ball has to be precise when you do that. Now when you finish and catch the grip, you should be much, much higher. It's good the way it's off away from your left head, but it should be way up higher where your arms form a triangle. Great step out. The larger the step, the higher the level of the player. But you're not dropping. Your racket is not getting low enough. Hitting a forehand is like doing squats. The facts are that tennis is a lifting game. Now look how the racket head is rolling over. Economy of motion, least amount of moving parts, least amount of muscle recruitment, the less the chance the swing will break down. The more moving pieces, the more it breaks down. See how you're finishing, and you don't roll the racket head every time, which is a good thing. You did not roll the racket head there. Now, the tennis court is 3 feet short of being 3 times the length that it is the width. The whole concept of stroke production is that the shape of your swing matches the shape of the tennis court. There's a north side, there's a south side. You do that to a certain degree, but you need to be better at it. Now you're getting lower. We got your right hand to your right hip. This is a better photo. You need to get further away from the ball. Watch your hips. We get low. You struck the ball. Now you're lifting up. Understand, tennis is a lifting game. When you strike the ball and lift after the hit, that energy does not transfer into the shot. You need to be coming up as you strike the ball, not afterwards. Write it down. There's no such thing as the right way or the wrong way to strike a tennis ball. There are only efficient and inefficient ways. My role is to give you the proper information to be as efficient as you can. I'm not here to give you my opinion. I'm only here to give you the facts. You're being asked to hit an underspin forehand here. Now, it's noticeable to me, and you can always tell me if I'm wrong, because I certainly have been wrong before. But it's noticeable to me, I believe, that your topspin forehand is more developed than your underspin forehand. Your string should not be finishing on the left side of your body. You're pointing the racket head directly to the left of you. You should be finishing where the head of the racket is pointed to the right of you, where you have lifted your right bicep up to the sky. The shape of your swing must match the shape of the court. You want to go hand to hand. Right now, you're going from right to left. From right to left. Court's built north to south. From corner to corner on the singles court is 19.1 degrees. It's a very narrow shot from corner to corner. In doubles, it's 24.2 degrees. But our swing, you're playing tennis on court 1. Right now, your strings are facing court 2. Right now, your strings are facing behind you. So there's so many calculations that are being made, and as the incoming speed is faster and faster, it's harder and harder. So improving your strokes comes down to enlarging your hitting zone. Now, you're being asked to hit a topspin backhand. You have the general form of the backhand. You set the racket up a little on the high side, and understand, you have a loop off your forehand, you have a loop off your backhand. Nothing beats a loop. A loop is the most efficient. Now, when you turn, your strings are beveled up. It would be more efficient if your strings were beveled down. Down on a 45 degree. It's good the way you lift your left elbow off your body. You're taking a good step out. I'm watching your hands closely. They appear to get a little bit lower off your backhand side than off your forehand side. You're about hip height. You're slightly too close to the ball. So I have a good view of your left arm and your right hand and wrist, but I should be able to see all the way down your right forearm to your elbow. Body's blocking it out. Understand, the higher the level the player, the further away from the ball they get. Power equals radius squared. Nice step out. You need to get lower. You're going to make an adjustment in your wrists. Your wrists are going to roll, baby, roll. See how they roll. You want to get rid of that completely. You want to have no wrist movement whatsoever when you strike a ball. The pros, more often than not, strike the ball with locked wrists. After they feel the vibration in their arms, they relax from the elbows and the wrists. Many people think that they're very wristy, which they are not. Too close to the ball. Get further away from the ball. You can hit so much harder with so much more topspin. The underspin backhand, some people like to call it slice. Your strings are facing the sky, your left elbow is down. I could put a glass of water on your strings right now and it wouldn't fall. Your strings should be near vertical, straight up and down. Think about it for 1 minute. Look at the ball, look at the angle of your strings. There's a ton of calculations that have to be met to execute this shot. Strings face up, swing's going to tug down and to the right. You should be finishing where the head of the racket is pointed to your left. Left hand, right hand forms a straight line. You have an archway that you can walk underneath. There's been no wrist deflection whatsoever. Your belly button should be finishing facing the camera to the left of you. When it comes to striking a tennis ball, there's no such thing as the right way or the wrong way. There are only efficient and inefficient ways. But brain memory is so powerful. What we do, we own. Your left elbow is in. You have a continental grip. Your strings are facing the sky. Your swing, if your strings are in this position, the swing has nowhere to go but down and to the right. So you see that your strings don't really track out towards the intended target. You have to seek precision to calculate the shot. And you have abilities, and my guess is that you've hit a lot of tennis balls in your time. And you can always tell me if I'm wrong. Calculating a coach's feet is not a problem, but when you're playing really good players and the speed of the tennis is faster, it causes problems. Now, we took a look at your underspin backhand. It's so important to understand the theory of strokes. Vic Braden, out in Coto de Caza, California, the biggest tennis researcher that's ever been. The interrelationship of strokes. And what that means is that your backhand volley is first cousins to your underspin backhand. And when we watch you hit, we see that it is. See how once again the strings are facing the sky. It would be ideal if your strings were exactly flat and your strings were facing the intended target. Strings face up, left elbow tugs down. Here come the calculations. You're finishing with your racket below the level of the net. You're striking the ball well above the level of the net. You should be finishing where the racket stays at that height and just goes forward. Tugging down. Gravity is so powerful. It's overwhelming how many balls we net when we volley. When we play a tennis match, the net is responsible for 50% of the errors in a match. So you can cure this. I mean, what this assessment is all about is to give you specific detail so that you know exactly what you need to work on to improve your tennis. And like I said, you can always pull me aside and I will spend time with you, show you, up in the foyer and so on. Look, your string should be a wall to the ball. And all these calculations are going to have to be met. The racket faces up, the swing tugs down and to the right. You should finish where the strings are on the left side of your body, where your racket's above the level of the net. Now, I have technical training. My college schooling is a tennis teaching degree with only studying fact-based information. I have been taught how to do videotape analysis. I'm not giving you my opinion. We're just interested in the facts. Look at your racket. Your strings face upper right. They should be a wall to the ball, straight up and down, facing forward. Your left arm is out to the left of you. It would be ideal if it was to the right of you. It would be ideal if your belly button was facing the right curtain. Now that the strings face up, the swing has nowhere to go but down. So, what this assessment does is give you specific detail. Now you need to see it. Awareness, acceptance, commitment. Are you aware? Do you accept? And are you committed to curing it? Awareness, acceptance, commitment. Grip is close to being continental, which it should be. You're too quick to let go with the left hand. On your overhead smash, keep the left hand on the throat. As you keep the left hand on the throat, it'll get you turned better, and it'll keep the muscles in your right arm more relaxed. Now, you're going to curl the palm of the hand up. Waiter in a restaurant, we have a bit of the palm is facing the sky, your strings are facing the sky. This would be the gleaming flaw on the overhead. If the strings face up, the swing wants to tug down. The strings should be in a salute-like position facing down. Then and only then the swing is free to twist up and out to the right. And we'll get a better look at your serve, because what we usually see with somebody's overhead, we see in their serve. You want to back up more. You want to hit the overhead moving forward. Write that down. It's a bit, the threat is when it gets caught behind us. There's no such thing as the right grip or the wrong grip. There is a grip that will ask for the least amount of calculations. Okay, now interesting. Your backhand return of serve is not identical to your backhand ground stroke. So you're going to turn well, make your grip change. Now you're okay here. You're just fine. But now you lower and stop. Don't stop there. You lost your momentum and then you got to rebuild it again. It's like driving a car, slamming on the brakes, and rebuild your momentum. If you're going to pause up there. Keep the racket there longer. Write this down. I need to keep my racket high longer off my backhand return of serve. Then when it drops, it's building momentum and it's not stopping. It's dropping 5 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, 9, 11, and building right up to the finish. You need to carry your left elbow off your body. Your left elbow is into your ribs, and it's causing you to swing from left to right. Left to right. Remember, the whole concept of stroke production is that your swing matches the shape of the court. Like I say, I've had a lot of technical training, so don't be alarmed when the more I can criticize, the more you're getting your money's worth. People talk tennis with me. I tell kids 9, 10, 11 years old, You got to seek criticism, not praise. If I'm just telling you how wonderful you are, you're not improving. If I'm showing you what needs to be cured, you are going to start to work on it and improve. It's not what the coach knows. It's what the student's learning. So now you got a backhand return a serve. You're choosing to hit it with underspin. Well, we've been here before. As the incoming serve is faster and faster, look at how hard. Let's say you're playing doubles, and let's say there's a good net poacher in front of you. How are you going to get this shot away from that person in back cross court? It's not going to be easy. It can be done, but there's a lot of calculations. I'm here to show you that you can achieve and play at a higher level if you eliminate some of those calculations. You do many things well. Do not get me wrong. You do many things well. You're athletic. You've hit a lot of balls. I'm here to show you what you need to do to play at a higher level. You split step well. You're in the proper spot on the tennis court. Most people will hide their backhand or for their weakness and move over a little bit. You're there. Now, tennis is just as much a lower body sport as it is an upper body sport. When you hit this forehand return, step up and meet this ball and pressure the server. But you see how you're tight to the baseline and you're still there. You're going to get aced. It's going to be tough when the server is picking the corners. As you move up, you cut off the potential angle. And you can, what we call, steal the ace. You want to steal the ace when you're returning serve. Move up, hit with a closed stance. The great thing about a closed stance is that you transfer your weight forward. And if you like the looks of your shot, you can get in to the net and be a net rusher. So many open stance players complain that they can't get to the net because when they finish the stroke, they're pulling back on their heels. Good the way the wrist is locked. Good the way you have a loop. Good the way you're stepping out. Your step is late, but you want to get that left foot. See, your step is a little late. You're swinging high, low, high. You're swinging inside out. You're doing a good job off your forehand. Your forehand has the ability to be simplified. Sometimes you do it. Sometimes you add unnecessary movement. Now here comes the master of all strokes. The most important shot in the game is the serve. The easiest shot to practice is the serve. Most difficult shot to master. Okay. I'm going to take a guess and say Pete Sampras had some type of, mimicking Pete Sampras's serve has some type of effect on you, which is great. You know, when I was growing up, I thought I was Bjorn Borg. Far from it, though. I could walk like him, swing my racket somewhat like him, but I couldn't play like him. All right. Now the toes are being lifted up of your left foot. You do not need that. That's an unnecessary piece that can throw you off. What it does is it doesn't really allow your body to turn enough. I know Pete did it. I know Serena does it. But it would be in your best interest to keep that left foot down. Lift the left heel, not the toes. And as the heel is lifted, your left knee will turn in, your left hip will turn in, and you'll coil your body more efficiently. Now, the foot goes down. Now you begin your J toss, which is very good. Watch the left arm. Look at how it goes out towards the camera to the right of you and not out in front of you. That's a very advanced move. Okay? But your weight now should be from your front foot to your back foot. You're going to go into a pinpoint stance where the right foot slides to the left. Toss is too far to the left. And let's take a look at some more. See where it's headed? It's headed to the left. It's opening your body up. You're finishing with your left foot just inside the baseline, which is not bad, but to be technical, you could get the toss a little bit more forward and less to the left. Finish further into the court. If you wanted to serve and volley, you would be en route. Body will coil. You should be in somewhat of a crouched position now, looking like the shortstop in baseball pulling the ball out of their glove. Like I said, if any of this sounds, you're uncertain about it, pull me aside. You have a J toss where the left arm does come out to the side of you. Excellent. The right palm of your hand is now staying down. So it's interesting how you don't do it on the serve, but you do on your overhead. Your serve is more advanced than your overhead is, which is a great problem to have because the serve is more important. Now the ball is it's good the way you don't toss too high. Okay, you want to keep the toss down so that the swing can be not hitch free. When you get the toss, your toss is a little too far to the left. That puts stress on the right rotator cuff and the lower back. We want our students to be injury-free, be able to play tennis forever, not get injured. If you can get your toss slightly to the right and further in, you're home free. You finish, you got your power X, your body's in the proper position. You are an advanced server, there's no question about it. Now, see where it's headed? That's not good. You get a little knee bend, there's nothing wrong with that. Too much knee bend is not good, but a little knee bend is fine. See how the toss goes from right to left. The power line, which is the position your body and racket go into at contact, is not bad. Your hips are on a 45 degree. You could keep your left arm up higher, longer. Write that down. Keep left arm, tossing arm up higher, longer. You'll be able to hit harder. Left arm acts as a reactive brake on the serve. My guess is that your serve is reliable. It's not all that streaky, which is great, But these small, being an excellent tennis player is all about specific detail. I'm here to give you as much specific detail as I can, or at least an awful lot, and where you can make it better. You can play at a higher level. Keep toes down. Lift left heel up. You go into a pinpoint stance where the right foot slides to the left. That's very good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually used as a power source. Speeds the racket up faster because it keeps the body sideways longer. That's an advanced move there. The racket head has dropped below, close to the right hip. Watch how your right elbow is going to swing out in front. Believe you me, we don't see that enough at the club. That actually is the most important link in the serve, is that the right elbow leads. Then the forearm trails, then the wrist and hand trail. It goes elbow, forearm, wrist and hand. A little better the way you stepped in closer. Keep the toss low and out to the right. Don't go too far back. People love it because they get a lot of rotation on the ball. But there are players like Patrick Rafter, Stefan Edberg. Careers were shortened. They tossed way over their head. Their shoulders were killing them. I remember Patrick Rafter got to a point where he couldn't practice the serve. He could only use it. He'd only use it for matches. His arm was killing him. So, and yours isn't dramatically bad. Now that's better. That last one was better. And you might be asked to be hit flat here. And as you hit flat, the toss should be slightly higher and to the right. It's still a little too far to the left. Now that's a spot right there for a kick serve, for a topspin serve. Flat it should be. So it goes like this. Directly over your head is 12 o'clock. Hit your topspin serve at 12:30. Hit your flat serve at 1 o'clock. And if you have a slice serve, hit that at 1:30. Side angle on the forehand. You have so much. Just get lower. Sit in a chair, drop. Look how your racket and the ball are at the same height. Now the racket's dropping below the ball, but it's not enough. It's good enough to win plenty of matches. But you can make a quantum leap in your game if you find a way to get that racket to drop to your right knee or close to it. Now look at the underspin from the side angle. Watch closely. The shape of the baseline is matching the shape of your swing. Can't even see your racket right now. Your racket should be on the right side of your body, not the left. That might sound strange. If you have any questions, pull me aside. This is the only fact-based tennis instruction worldwide. We have a website to go to with approximately 365 fact-based topics. www.stevetennissmith.com. Steve Smith, his name is quite ordinary. He goes by Steve Tennis Smith. Now at contact, you look pretty good. Your racket face, see now, your racket face is not beveled to the sky like it was off your backhand. It's near vertical. We lost your left arm though. It's got a left arm pull. It should be out in front of you. We should see it. Because it's way off to the left, it's going to pull the swing to the left. Hopefully you feel like you understand more, not that you know what you need to do. Industry norm tennis. Tennis is an unknown craft. It's an unknown craft. Most of the time, Dad takes his kids out on the court, tells them what to do. What he's telling his kids to do will never help them. We're watching people come out and practice all the time. How they practice will not help them. Now that's it. Just look now. See now. Just watch. Watch the complexity of the racket being turned over. Many people have been told, well, that'll apply topspin. That's the worst thing you could hear. No, you don't want to turn the racket head over. You want the racket to be flat and track out towards the intended target. Roger Federer's backhand. His strings track out towards the intended target for almost 6 feet. It's enormous. Andre Agassi, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer all have a 48-inch hitting zone in their forehands. Their strings are not altered at all for 48 inches. There is no wrist movement. They are downright brilliant with the fundamentals. Look at the angle of the racket, and it goes down and to the right. It's taking on the shape of the baseline. But the art is where you start. And you started a long time ago, but it depends on your belief system and what you're working on. This could be a life-changing situation for you, and I sincerely mean that. You know, what we offer in tennis is more of a lifestyle. I mean, we get people on a construction cone hitting balls, the great base backboard, the shadow swinging, the being specific with details, how not to practice your tennis game. And just look at the angle of the racket, look how it's tugging down. Just go forward, man. Get it flat and go forward, play at a higher level. Let's say you hit a terrific shot. Well, great, but the ball's coming back now. As the level of play gets higher and look where your racket is. It's down by your knee. So now the racket has to be raised. Imagine if you had a flat racket and you went forward and the ball came back right now, you'd be ready to hit it again. It really is like a lifestyle of how to practice. Research states the best way to practice is to practice striking a tennis ball so slow. The worst thing you can do is hit the ball hard. We're constantly watching people overhit. Form your stroke by shadow swinging, getting in front of a mirror, and rebuild it. 3 little pigs. Build your tennis game out of brick. Drop hit tennis balls. But don't get on the court. Try to get this information by blasting the ball. The chances are slim to get it that way. America is stuck on game and workout-based tennis instruction. Besides Serena, there's not too much to speak of in men's or women's tennis. In the United States, we are somewhat in a crisis. We need to go about it differently. You let go with your left arm too quick. You're not turned enough. Your belly button should be turned more than sideways. The palm is coming up. Cured it on your serve though. Have your overhead take a lesson from your serve. See the pause in the backhand right there? It's just below your left hip. It's a momentum and power loss. Keep the racket high longer. Swing in a north to south direction. Like the pros. That's what allows them to be so efficient on the tennis court, is that more often than not you're going to see their swing matches the court. Now there are certain things that happen after the ball has left the strings. And understand, once you strike a tennis ball, ball's on your strings for 4 milliseconds. Beginning of a blink of an eye, and then the moment's gone. Once the ball's gone, it doesn't matter what you do from that moment on. You cannot affect the shot. Follow through is completely misunderstood in tennis. It's very important that your strings track out towards the intended target, because we're unsure of the exact moment the ball will hit your strings. You know, and this is something that you do, and you always have it. You can always go back. And what I recommend is, if you do work on this, to come back 6 months later, after you've worked on your game for approximately 6 months, and then get videotaped again. And have the date. This is September of 2016, and you'll have another, and when you can start to see the progress, it's motivating. This is what we do with our juniors. Every one of them's videoed. Step up with a closed stance. Move up and get closer. Pick off the ace. Steal the ace. You can, against a really good server, you can shorten the backswing, not even take it back that far. That's a good photo though, for the ground stroke. The palm of the hand is down, the racket face is hooded. I mentioned off your backhand that your racket needed to be hooded more, face downward. See how you do it off your forehand? Take a larger step out. That's a good step out. Left arm out for balance, eyes fixed to the hit. You should not be opening like that when you strike the tennis ball. Your belly button should not be facing the net. Your belly button should be facing the net post to the right of you. Side angle on the serve. It's really good the way you don't toss too high. You can just build. You go into your serve and you come out of your serve quickly. That's great. Less time for things to break down. You could coil your body more, turn more, bring your weight onto your back foot. Keep your left arm up higher. Keep your left arm up longer. You got it. There's plenty of knee bend in there, but you're okay. Good the way the left arm stays in front of you. It stops the left shoulder from opening too soon. Hips on a 45 degree. Your head is well over the baseline. Your left shoulder's over the baseline. A lot of good elements. Look how the left arm tucks. The left arm acts as a reactive brake. Stops the left shoulder from opening, which speeds up your right elbow and allows you to hit harder. It's very common that I would mention this to people and they had no idea that this is what they did, because there is always a disconnect in what we do on the tennis court and what we think we do. And that disconnect is so powerful and so real, it goes all the way up to the world's best to ever play the game. The tennis pros themselves do not do what they say or say what they do. Confuses, makes the equation so much more complicated. Because what we do as tennis players, we do at an unconscious level. So we got a good look at your complete game here. Your topspin ground strokes are more advanced than your underspin ground strokes, which is good. You need to get lower on your topspin. On your underspin, you need to go north to south and straighten it out and have less calculations. You can look at Gary Alpert's videos, Steve Tennis Smith. With Steve's, there's a lifetime of information to follow and go by.